All right, so this entire lesson, we're not adding anything new. We are literally just doing more factoring. When I see you all tomorrow, we're going to add an element to this. Okay, so that's why today is a really important day just to close any loose ends that we might have with how to factor. We should have a pretty good idea on how to factor by the end of today. It's now our third day trying to get the hang of this. So when we're factoring, you will always start by finding two numbers that we have. Our A term is 2, our B term is 13, and our C term is -7. So two numbers that multiply to A times C, which is -14, and that add to B, which is 13. Okay, and even if you're ahead, go ahead and just bring your attention back up here to make sure we have this down. When you're trying to find these numbers, focus on numbers that multiply to 14, not numbers that add to 13. Okay, because we can all list infinitely many numbers that add to 13. So of the numbers that multiply to 14 that we can get to add to 13 are 14 and 1. And we need to make the 1 negative. So -1, -1. Now they multiply to -14 and add to 13. Okay, again, if we don't have these numbers correct, this is always like a good checking point. If the sign is off or whatever part of this does not work out, you're not going to get to the correct factoring here. These two numbers, really what they're doing is they're taking the 13V and they're splitting it up. So it is 14V minus 1V minus 7. Now I have a place for every single part in the box, or a term for every inside of the box of 2V squared, 14V minus V minus 7. And then how you want to figure out how to find the outsides, that's completely up to you. Okay, the first way I explained it is thinking about greatest common factors in each column and each row. I actually think it's a little bit easier just to think about this all in terms of multiplication. And if I'm doing that, I'm really starting with how can I get 2V squared? Like a lot of examples we've covered, there's only one way to do that, by multiplying a 2V times a 1V. I need to put the 2V so that it can multiply to get 14V. So I'm going to put that on the side. That way I can take 2V times a positive 7 to get 14V. That means to get 2V squared here, I need a V. V times 2V is 2V squared. And V times a -1 gives me -V. -1 times 7 is -7. So this factors to be V plus 7 times 2V minus 1. All right, questions there? All right, last one you're going to hear me go through completely. Once again, I might identify the A, B, and C. A is just 3. B is just -10. C is 8. Numbers we're looking for need to multiply to A times C, which is 24. And they need to add to -10. Okay, now, this is a case where it feels like there might be two different sets of numbers that work. Okay, I talked to one group that thought, hey, -12 and 2, they multiply to -20 or to -24 and add to -10. The problem there is that they're not multiplying to a positive 24. So 12 and 2 actually do not work. Okay, and the group kind of picked up on that. So if those numbers don't work, we pick different factors now. So I'm like, okay, what other factors might work? Well, 6 and 4 multiply to 24. And if I make them both negative, now they multiply to a positive 24. So this is really 3V squared minus 6V minus 4V plus 8. Gemma, go ahead and join. Go ahead and sit over there with Caitlin. I'll bring all the stuff to you. Keep your phone. Keep everything. Keep everything. All right, so now I have 4 terms, one for each place inside the box. So that's 3v squared minus 6v minus 4v plus 8. And when I'm thinking about how to multiply to get 3v squared, once again, there's only one way to do that, by doing a 3v and a v. So I'm going to put 3v on the side so that it can multiply to give me negative 6v. So 3v times a negative 2 is negative 6v. V times a negative 4 is negative 4v, and negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. And thus this factors to 3v minus 4, v minus 2. All right, and any questions there? Okay, so for the rest of class, you are going to work at your own pace. You know what I want us to do? There's 6 left. I want us to do all 6. Once you're done with all 6, call me over. I will check them. If they're all right, I will trade you for a homework. At the same time, I'm